You might be thinking, I've got a good pair of running shoes, so I'm good, right? That's what I used to believe too. But after years of chasing new running trails and pushing my limits, I started to realize the difference a few overlooked essentials can make. A couple added pieces of gear can quietly transform our comfort, recovery, and even our motivation to get out there day after day. It's easy to focus on the basics, but running isn't as easy as just lacing up and getting out the door. I'm ryyoung from runwithryan.org, ultra runner, model, and men's lifestyle creator. I've learned firsthand that sometimes the right accessories, sometimes the ones that nobody else talks about, can be game changers. Before we get into the lesser known gear, I want to break down the essentials that usually get the buzz and how they can actually make or break our run. When we think about running gear, it's easy to assume the basics are just boxes to check off. But over time, I've realized the familiar essentials: fitness watches, insoles, sunglasses. They're more than just standard equipment. They play a bigger role than most people realize, especially if we know how to use them with intention. I remember starting out with just a pair of running shoes and a whole lot of optimism. 15 years ago, a fitness watch seemed unnecessary, something only serious athletes would bother with. But after a few months of consistent running, I started to notice gaps in my routine, nagging aches, uncertainty about my progress, and a sense that I was missing something. That's when I started to pay attention to what the essentials actually do. I got a fitness watch from a certain phone and computer company. That was my first upgrade. At first, I only used it for distance and pace, but as I got deeper into training, I realized the real advantage was in the details. Modern GPS watches like the Garmin Forerunner 265, or even a Whoop band, provide accurate heart rate and pacing data, helping us understand the body's response to different workouts. I've learned that wrist optical sensors are generally reliable, but if we want precision during intervals and intense sessions, pairing with a chest strap is best. There was a moment mid-training cycle when my heart rate data showed I was pushing too hard, too soon. That insight let me adjust my pace and avoid burnout while working to increase my speed. If this is where you're at, you've been looking to increase your speed and pace, check out the video I'll put right up here in a card. You might find it useful. Over time, I found that a fitness watch, it's not just a tracker. It became a feedback tool, helping me make smarter decisions about effort and recovery. Recently, I've been loving my Whoop. It breaks down all my data, and the AI-powered coach on the app lets me discuss what's working, what's not, and how to effectively go about my days and my nights. The sleep insights in particular, they're mind-blowing. Then there's insoles. I never thought much about them until knee pain started to creep up during longer runs. A friend recommended trying Superfeet insoles, which are popular for their support and ability to correct gait issues. I was skeptical, but swapped out the standard inserts for a pair of Superfeet green. The change, it was immediate. Less knee strain, more comfort, and a smoother stride. Over time, I noticed my form improving, and I wasn't dreading that next run because the aches that used to linger for days were gone. These insoles didn't just cushion my feet, they influenced how my entire body moved, making each run a little more efficient and a lot less painful. Sunglasses, they're another lesson in underestimating the basics. I used to grab any old pair, figuring they'd get the job done. But after a brutally bright run out by the beach left me squinting and exhausted, I decided to invest in something better. The Gooder Operation Blackout Polarized Aviator sunglasses came highly recommended for their UV protection and their glare reduction. The first time I wore them, I noticed how much easier it was to keep focus on the road. No more squinting, no more headaches from the glare. Even on cloudy days, they cut down on visual fatigue and helped me stay present during long stretches. Gooders come in dozens and dozens of styles and colors. They're a fun brand that leans into protecting athletes and our eyes. Adding them was a small change that made a big difference in how I felt both during and after a run. All three of these essentials came together for me during a long, hot training run. The sun was relentless. My legs felt heavy, and every mile seemed to drag. But my watch kept me honest about my pace and my heart rate. My insoles kept my knees and ankles steady, and my sunglasses shielded my eyes from the harsh light. I finished that run feeling far better than I expected. And for the first time, I understood how these basics could actually elevate the experience. Not just make it bearable, but enjoyable. Looking back, I realized that these familiar pieces of gear aren't just about comfort or convenience. They're about building the foundation that lets us focus on the run itself, not the distractions or discomforts that chip away at our motivation. Once I dialed into the right watch, insoles, and sunglasses, running started to feel a bit more fun, meaning returning to it again and again was something I'd look forward to. But as much as these essentials helped, I found myself searching for that extra spark, something that would push me through the toughest stretches and keep my mind in the game when my body wanted to quit. For me, music has always been more than just background noise. It's a tool that shapes how I move through the world and helps form each of my runs. I first realized how much difference the right headphones can make on a humid morning, halfway through a tough interval session. Sweat was pouring down my face, and my old earbuds kept slipping out every few minutes. Man, it was annoying. I'd pause, adjust, and try to get back into the rhythm, but each interruption chipped away at my focus. The battery gave out before I reached my cooldown, leaving me with nothing but my own heavy breathing and the sound of traffic. That morning, it became clear. Earbuds that can't handle sweat, won't stay put, or die mid-run aren't just a minor annoyance. They can derail the entire workout. The right pair of sweat-resistant headphones is a game changer for any runner. When we're pushing through the hardest parts of a run, motivation and focus, they're everything. And music has this unique ability to pull us through those moments when the body wants to quit. Sports psychology backs this up. Listening to music can distract from fatigue and boost endurance by as much as 15%. But that only works if our audio experience is seamless. If we're constantly fiddling with slipping earbuds or dealing with dead batteries, we lose the mental edge that music provides. After that frustrating run, I started searching for earbuds that could actually keep up. I wanted something built specifically for runners. And that led me to the Bose Ultra Open earbuds. They quickly stood out. A recent Runner's World test put them at the top for comfort, even on runs up to 20 miles. The design is simple, but effective. They clamp onto the ear, there's no sliding around, and they're comfortable even when wearing sunglasses. Instead of using bone conduction, these have small speakers that provide deep sound while still letting us hear what's happening around us, if that's the setting we like. This is the aware setting. Or try the quiet audio setting that makes music feel fully immersive, reducing any exterior noise and letting us zone out into the run. That's the setting I prefer. And battery life, that's another win. With the charging case, we don't have to worry about the earbuds dying before finishing most long runs. After getting them for myself, I did a full 50-mile race, going multiple hours without needing a charge. And when they did need a charge, I slipped them into their charging case, and they quickly got a boost so I could have music quickly again. With solid earbuds, music finally became what I always wanted it to be, a steady companion, helping to set the pace for my tempo runs, and giving me something to focus on during hill repeats. I started choosing tracks based on the mood of the run, letting the beat carry me through tough stretches and helping me celebrate those moments when everything clicked. Maybe sometimes it aids as a distraction, getting me through those tough moments. But more often than not, music acts as a tool to shape my greatest mindset and performance. Keep in mind, there's no single pair of headphones that work for everybody. But one thing is universal. Don't settle for gear that just gets by. The right headphones or earbuds should support us, not hold us back. When music stays with us, uninterrupted and clear, it turns difficult miles into manageable ones. It syncs with our stride, lifts our mood, and gives us something to focus on besides the discomfort. The difference is subtle at first, but over time, it adds up, making each run a little easier and a lot more enjoyable. Of course, motivation and focus to get out and into a run, they're only part of the sport. What we do after each run is just as important for feeling strong and ready for the next. Most runners stretch a bit and call it good, but I realized I was missing something essential in my recovery routine. There's one upgrade that changed my whole approach to recovery: the right tools for muscle care. I never thought much about what happened after a run. Maybe a quick stretch, Probably not. But something shifted when I discovered what a foam roller could actually do. I picked up the Amazon Basics high-density foam roller for just a few bucks. I can't lie. The first few sessions were uncomfortable. At first, rolling out my quads and calves after a long run felt almost counterproductive. But I noticed something the next morning. My legs didn't feel nearly as heavy. Over time, the soreness that used to linger after a tough workout faded faster. And I started to look forward to those few minutes of rolling at the end of each session. Foam rollers work by applying direct pressure to tight muscles, helping to release knots and boost circulation. The extra blood flow means fresher oxygen and nutrients get to the muscles that need them most, speeding up recovery. I stuck with it because I could feel the difference. Yes, in my legs, but in my ability to keep up with my training plan without needing to skip runs due to stiffness. And then I moved to textured rollers. They're really great for hitting tight spots. As my mileage increased, I started looking for ways to target smaller muscle groups and stubborn knots that the foam roller couldn't quite reach itself. And that's when I tried a massage gun. The Hypervolt stood out for its multiple intensity levels and quiet operation. Two things that actually matter when you're trying to focus on recovery and not noise. The first time I used it, I realized how much easier it was to pinpoint tight, sore spots in my calves and hamstrings, especially after a hilly routine that left my legs feeling like lead. Instead of struggling to apply enough pressure with a foam roller, the massage gun does the work for me. And the relief? It's immediate. Research and lab testing back up what I feel. Percussive therapy from a massage gun can accelerate recovery by increasing blood flow and reducing muscle soreness. I've found that alternating between the foam roller and the massage gun give me the best results. Broad strokes for the larger muscle groups, then targeted percussion for the knots that always seem to crop up after tempo runs or hill sprints. I remember one evening after a particularly grueling long run. My calves were tight, my hamstrings ached, and I was sure I'd be limping for days. Instead of stretching and hoping for the best, I spent 10 minutes with the foam roller and then used the massage gun on the worst spots. The next morning, I woke up genuinely surprised at how much better I felt. And that's when I realized that recovery is about feeling less sore, but it's also about setting ourselves up to actually enjoy that next run. Don't get me wrong, these tools are not a replacement for stretching, but they add a layer of intentional care that changes how we approach recovery. 5 minutes spent rolling or using a massage gun makes a difference over time. It's a small investment of effort that pays off in consistency and comfort. I don't see recovery as downtime anymore. It's a part of the process I look forward to, knowing it helps me stay on track and avoid the setbacks that used to frustrate me. But there's another piece to the puzzle that took me even longer to appreciate. It's not about what you do to your muscles from the outside, but it's what you put in your body to support them from the inside. That's where the next game changer comes in. Nutrition and supplements are often the missing link in a runner's toolkit. When I first started running, I followed the standard, more traditional fueling advice. I'd eat a big pasta dinner before a long run, maybe grab a gel mid-race, and of course drink water along the way. But after dozens of ventures feeling worn out, my muscles stiff, my energy dipping lower than expected, I had to admit something was off. Relying on habits and generic advice, it wasn't enough. The more I paid attention, the more I realized how I refueled and rehydrated after a run was just as important as the miles themselves. One of my biggest blind spots was hydration. I'd finish a run, down a bottle of water, and move on. I didn't realize I was missing the minerals my body lost through sweat. Sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and chloride. If we skip these, we risk cramps, sluggishness, or even overheating, especially after a long or intense session. I started looking for a solution that was easy to use and actually worked. Nuun Electrolyte tablets became my go-to. Runner's World recently named them best overall for their balance of sodium and potassium, and they dissolve quickly in water. Once I made these a regular part of my routine, the difference was clear. I no longer felt completely depleted after a long summer run, and my recovery days started to feel like true recovery, not just a slow slog. Protein bars and shakes, they're another staple. But I noticed they only addressed part of the recovery equation. They helped with muscle repair, sure. But what they didn't seem to touch was the deeper fatigue that stuck around for days. That's when I started researching more specialized recovery supplements. I kept seeing Cordyceps pop up, a mushroom extract that sounded a little out there at first. But the science grabbed my attention. A 2024 study found that taking just 1 gram of Cordyceps before high-intensity exercise reduces muscle damage and speeds up cell repair, meaning a faster recovery. I decided to add a Cordyceps powder to my post-run shake. The effect wasn't instant, but over several weeks, I noticed my legs didn't feel as heavy after tough workouts, and I bounced back faster than before. There's also the performance angle to Cordyceps that's hard to ignore. I remember a morning about 3 weeks into my daily supplementation. What started out as an easy 6-mile run turned into 8, and I felt surprisingly strong on the hills. And it didn't feel like a fluke. That week, I read about a recent study where recreational athletes who took 4 grams of Cordyceps daily for 3 weeks improved their VO2 max by up to 11%. That's not nothing. That's a substantial change in endurance, not just a placebo effect. Still, it's important to keep perspective. Human data is limited, and not every study finds dramatic results, especially for anaerobic performance. The benefits build gradually and require consistency, not a quick fix before a race. I experimented with other supplements too. Some runners swear by omega-3 or CBD oil for managing inflammation and joint pain. Recently, I've been applying a CBD oil to my muscles, mostly targeting my calves and thighs for greater, quicker recovery. Trust me, I'm always skeptical of CBD products, but after a few days of giving it a try, the difference was unmistakable. This is the Relief Roll-On Ball from Enhancewell. It goes on easy, applies well, and gets the job done. There's a promo code down below for 25% off your entire order. I highly recommend trying it out. See what it does for you. It all comes down to finding what fits with your body and training style. What I've learned is that supplements, they're not a shortcut. They don't replace good nutrition, sleep, or the basics of training and recovery. But when used intentionally, they can make a world of difference. For me, a reliable electrolyte mix and a recovery powder with Cordyceps are now some of my non-negotiables. They're not flashy, but over time, they've helped me feel stronger, recover faster, and handle higher mileage without burning out. Paying attention to these details, hydration, recovery, and endurance support, has changed the way I think about running. It's not about chasing a new trend. It's about building a routine that supports our goals and works specifically for us. When we start to notice small improvements, less soreness, steady energy, and more enjoyable miles, it's a reminder that the things we overlook can have a big impact. Looking back, I'm surprised at how much these small changes have shaped my running routine. Swapping out generic insoles or adding a foam roller seem insignificant at first, but each adjustment brought a noticeable shift in how I recover, stay motivated, and keep showing up for the next run. Remember, it's not about chasing every new gadget. It's about finding the tools that quietly support our goals and make the miles feel more manageable. If you try out any of these essentials, I'd love to hear how they work for you. What's one underrated running accessory you rely on? Drop your recommendations in the comments. I'm always interested in hearing new ideas. If you enjoyed this video and its recommendations, please consider joining the Luxury of Adventure Premium Club on runwithryan.org. There, we cover all things travel and adventure, health and wellness, and yes, of course, running. And we even dive into some men's style. Joining the community would be an exceptional way to show your support. Thank you. Or subscribe here on YouTube for more honest gear reviews and practical tips. Together, we're going to continue tackling all those incredible running goals from the ground up. You now have the essentials to aid each run. But do you have your why? You know, like, why are you running? Why are you a runner? For fun, insightful ways to find your why, go ahead and check out the video right here. With these proper tools and your why, your next best run might just be a small change away. Again, thanks so much for joining me here today. I'll see you back here again soon.